Well, I was certainly very surprised when I woke up this morning and saw that I had an update available to install. I just knew it had to be 10.69.3. My enthusiasm dissipated quickly when I saw that the update was 10.69.2.4. That's the interim bug fix to 10.69.2.3. And then when I went on Twitter, I saw that this is being massively rolled out. The question, of course, is why? Why are they bringing out 10.69.2.4 when it is obvious that 10.69.3 is right around the corner? There are two possible scenarios, in my opinion. And if you want to know what these scenarios are and what I think is happening, stay with us until the end of this video and I'll let you know what I think. In the meantime, I wanted to try out 10.69.2.4 to see if there was any improvement. So I'm going to take a little drive and see how it feels. One of the things I have noticed is that over the week since 10.69.2.3 came out, it seems to be much better and much smoother. A lot of people have mentioned this. Of course, it could all be simply our imagination. But let's see how it goes. I expect to have one intervention and one disengagement. The intervention will come when I reach the village's gate arm because it still does not see those and does not even slow down for them. And I don't want the car to go crashing through it, so I will disengage at that point. The other is an intervention. When I make a left turn onto Buena Vista from 466, it gets confused as to the speed limit. And instead of going from 45 to 35, it goes from 45 miles an hour down to 20. And I have to accelerate, and then I also want to put it into the right lane because it has a tendency to want to travel in the left lane, which is inconsiderate to the other people. So let's get started and see what we have. Okay, I'm in this parking lot.
Drive northwest on Belvedere Boulevard for a half mile.
Okay, it's going to want to turn right, and I want to force it to turn left, so I'm going to do this maneuver myself. And then I will engage. Okay, we're now in full self-driving, and we're coming up on the Gator. That was a nice blue Tesla Model 3 that just passed us. And I'm going to disengage here. And I will re-engage after we pass through the Gator. Okay, I've re-engaged. Okay, we've now changed to 30 miles an hour. Now this is, as I've mentioned before, this is a tricky little right turn because it has to get in the far right lane very rapidly after it makes this turn. It's been doing it fairly well. It does travel across these cross lines, but it does it fairly well. And we have a green light, so the right turn should be fairly smooth. Okay, that was a nice turn, nice easy turn, and acceleration. Coming up on the stoplight. At this point, it's now starting to brake. Not bad. I've seen it do worse. And now that was an easy acceleration out. Now it's getting in the left lane. We've got a truck coming up here. It needs to start braking. There we go. Now it's starting to brake.
In 1,000 feet, turn left onto Buena Vista Boulevard.
Okay, now we're going to be getting in the left turn lane, and this is where I'm going to have to do an intervention after we actually make the left turn. Okay, now we're getting in the left turn lane. Minor acceleration. It obviously knew it was going to have to stop, so that wasn't much. And this is a nice, easy stop. I like this one. But when we make this left turn, I'm going to have to then hit the accelerator because after the turn, well, I can hardly see the light myself. Okay, it's going to go ahead and make the turn. I'm going to have to accelerate because the speed limit, as you will see, will go down to 20 miles an hour. All right, so I'm accelerating and I'm forcing it to the right lane. So that was my intervention. At this point, I should not have any more disengagements or interventions, even at the roundabout, because this roundabout, even though it does have problems with the two-lane roundabouts here in the villages, this particular roundabout is a first exit, which basically is not a lot more than simply a right turn. So I do not anticipate there really be a problem at that one. That was a nice, easy stop. I did notice prior to getting the 69.2.4 that, and people have mentioned this before on Twitter and also in YouTube, that their 69.2.3 after several weeks is now starting to get a little better. And I noticed that this, and sometimes it's just your imagination, I'm sure, but it does seem to be getting a little smoother than before. So maybe they, in addition to maybe a bug fix or two, they basically tuned up maybe some of the variables in the neural network, because it does seem to be writing just a little bit smoother. And that's not something you can see on the video. It's just a feeling that you have.
In 1,000 feet, enter the roundabout and take the first exit.
Okay, we're coming up on the roundabout, and the first exit should be not much more than just a right turn. So I'm going to let it do its thing, and we'll see what happens. Should be able to handle this all right.
Now enter the roundabout and take the
We need
first
to
exit.
slow down a little bit. Okay, it went right through that yield sign, and now we've slowed down to about 15 miles an hour. And it's exit. Boy, it took that one very, very wide. Crossed the line tremendously. But then it corrected itself and got in the proper lane. As I've said many times, they've got work to do on these two-lane roundabouts. Okay, we're coming up on a traffic light. Personally, with the sun glaring in my eyes, I can't tell the color of that light. So I'm just going to trust the car here. I think it's red. Yes, it is red. All right. Another hard brake there at the end. Okay, now it's green and we are proceeding. All right, it sees that car on the right. There was a little hesitation and slowed down. But once it saw that it was not a problem, it sped on back up. Construction trucks and landscapers on the right, off to the right median, it didn't seem to bother it at all. we're coming up on a traffic light that you can't see from here until we make this turn. All right, and there's traffic in front of us. The light is red, I can see it here, and we're starting to brake already. Now it's turned green, but there's a lead car in front of us. And now we are proceeding. That was very smooth. Okay, we're coming to the end of our destination here. And I'm going to take over and go into this parking lot over here in just a second and give you my thoughts on why we are in 10.69.
Enter the roundabout and take the second exit.
4. Alrighty, I've disengaged and we'll turn into this parking lot. Right. Okay, the question now arises as to why we have an interim update before the long-awaited 10.69.3. There are two theories on that I have seen on YouTube and on Twitter, and those are, well, first let me preface it by saying that one of the things people have noticed is that most everyone that has received 10.69.3 received 10.69.2.4 first. With that piece of evidence, there are two possibilities as to why this rollout is occurring en masse right now. Obviously, the initial 10.69.3 was on a very, very limited basis. And now it seems like en masse 10.69.2.4 is being rolled out. Now, since most everyone that got the 10.69.3 had the interim update first, it leads to the possibility that there is something in 10.69.2.4 that 10.69.3 needs, and that this rollout must go first before 10.69.3 is made available. The other possibility is that they have found some bugs and some issues in 10.69.3 that they want to correct and retrain on before the mass update goes out. Personally, my opinion, and this is just pure conjecture and opinion on my part, is that it is going out as an interim update first because the major update needs something that 10.69.2.4 has, and it has to go out first. I'm clinging to that thought because that possibility means that we will probably get the update of 10.69.3 very, very shortly en masse. Now, as far as the drive was concerned, as I had mentioned, it was very smooth. As I predicted, I had one intervention there at the turn where I had to accelerate up to the speed limit because there was a speed limit problem on the mapping. And the other one was the disengagement at the gate. Other than that, this was a zero disengagement and a zero intervention situation. There obviously was no safety issue. As I also had mentioned, I'm very, very pleased with the smoothness even of this update before we get to 10.69.3. So I hope you enjoyed this short drive, and thank you for watching.